Ever wonder who had 9 lives before cats made it cool? Can you imagine surviving multiple assassination attempts, deadly illnesses, and freak accidents? These historical figures didn't just flirt with death, they ghosted it repeatedly. Number 5. Fidel Castro, the man who outlived 600+ assassination attempts. Did the CIA really try to kill Castro with an exploding cigar? Could anyone actually survive hundreds of assassination plots? Fidel Castro, Cuba's revolutionary leader and longtime president, may hold the world record for surviving assassination attempts. The Cuban government claims the number exceeds 600 attempts on his life, though the exact figure remains disputed. What's undeniable is that for decades Castro was America's most wanted man, and the CIA got creative, frighteningly creative in their attempts to eliminate him. The schemes ranged from the conventional to the bizarre. There were the expected sniper plots and poisoning attempts. Then came the truly outlandish ideas: exploding cigars, contaminated diving suits, poisoned milkshakes, and even plans to dust his shoes with thallium salts to make his iconic beard fall out, hoping to diminish his powerful image. In 1963, Castro was scheduled to receive a gift: a beautiful diving suit. Unbeknownst to him, the suit had allegedly been treated with tuberculosis and fungi by the CIA. Fate intervened when Castro received a different diving suit as a gift from someone else, leaving the contaminated one untouched. The closest call came in 1963, when Castro was to be given a poisoned chocolate milkshake at the Havana Libra Hotel. The pill meant to be slipped into his beverage apparently stuck to the freezer where the assassin had hidden it, and it broke when the would-be killer tried to retrieve it. Beyond assassination attempts, Castro also survived a plane crash in 1958 during his revolutionary days. While flying from Mexico to Cuba, the aircraft experienced mechanical failure, forcing an emergency landing. Most passengers perished, but Castro emerged from the wreckage relatively unscathed. Perhaps most remarkable was Castro's resilience against time itself. Despite years of rumors about his declining health, he remained in power for nearly 5 decades, finally stepping down in 2008 due to illness. Even then, he survived another 8 years, passing away in 2016 at the age of 90, outliving many of those who had plotted his demise, including numerous U.S. presidents. "I never worry about dying," Castro once remarked, displaying the nonchalance of someone who had made cheating death a habit. Whether protected by luck, vigilant security, or simply an uncanny ability to sense danger, Castro's continuous survival against overwhelming odds makes him one of history's most enduring escape artists. Number 4. Rasputin, the mad monk who wouldn't die. How many ways can you kill a man before he actually dies? What if bullets, poison, and drowning all fail? Grigori Rasputin's death in December 1916 reads like fiction, yet historical accounts confirm the extraordinary resilience of the Russian mystic, who had gained unprecedented influence over Tsar Nicholas II and his family. His seemingly supernatural ability to survive multiple murder attempts in a single night has cemented his place in history as the man who couldn't be killed. The plot to assassinate Rasputin was hatched by Prince Felix Yusupov and other nobles who feared the mystic's control over the royal family. On that fateful December night, Yusupov invited Rasputin to his palace for a late-night gathering. Upon arrival, Rasputin was offered cakes and wine laced with enough cyanide to kill several men. To the conspirators' shock, the poison appeared to have no effect whatsoever. Growing impatient, Yusupov retrieved a revolver and shot Rasputin directly in the chest. The mystic collapsed to the floor, and the assassins believed their mission accomplished. Yet, when Yusupov returned to check on the body sometime later, he discovered Rasputin not only alive, but scrambling to escape. In a panic, the conspirators fired multiple additional shots, beating him savagely before wrapping his body in cloth and throwing him into the freezing Neva River. When Rasputin's body was recovered from beneath the ice days later, water was found in his lungs, indicating he had still been alive when thrown into the river. The autopsy revealed that hypothermia had finally accomplished what poison, multiple gunshot wounds, and a severe beating could not. But Rasputin's extraordinary resilience wasn't limited to his famous final night. Years earlier, in 1914, he survived an assassination attempt by a woman named Kionia Guzeva, who stabbed him in the abdomen, leaving his intestines hanging out. Doctors at the time gave him little chance of survival. Yet, Rasputin recovered. Some historians suggest Rasputin's surprising tolerance to poison might be explained by his rumored regular consumption of small amounts of toxic substances, potentially building a tolerance. Others point to the poor quality of cyanide potentially used that night. Whatever the explanation, Rasputin's determination to cling to life has transformed him into a legend, with his final prophecy proving eerily accurate. If I am killed by common assassins, you, the Tsar of Russia, have nothing to fear, but if I am murdered by boyars, nobles, and if they shed my blood, their hands will remain soiled with my blood for 25 years, and they will leave Russia. Within months of Rasputin's death, the Russian Revolution began, ending the Romanov dynasty and forever changing Russian history. Number 3. Ernest Hemingway, the writer who defied death. Can one man survive 2 world wars, multiple plane crashes, and brushes with death on 4 continents? How much punishment can a human body take before giving in? Ernest Hemingway didn't just write about adventure, he lived it, repeatedly staring death in the face and somehow walking away to tell the tale. The legendary American author's life reads like one of his novels, filled with danger, excitement, and an almost supernatural ability to survive the unservable. Hemingway's first major brush with death came during World War I, when he served as an ambulance driver on the Italian front. In July 1918, while delivering chocolate and cigarettes to soldiers, a mortar shell exploded nearby. The blast killed a soldier standing next to him instantly and left the 18-year-old Hemingway with over 200 metal fragments in his legs. Despite his severe injuries, he still managed to carry an Italian soldier to safety before collapsing from his wounds. This act of heroism earned him an Italian Silver Medal of Valor. During the Spanish Civil War, while working as a war correspondent, Hemingway narrowly avoided death when artillery shells struck the hotel where he was staying. The story goes that he was in the bathroom at the exact moment the shell hit his room. Perhaps Hemingway's most incredible survival story occurred in 1954 when he experienced not 1 but 2 plane crashes in just 2 days. While on safari in Africa with his wife Mary, their sightseeing planes struck an abandoned utility pole and crashed in the brush. Suffering head injuries, burns, and internal injuries, Hemingway and his wife spent the night in the African wilderness before being rescued the next morning. The following day, they boarded another small plane to get medical attention, which also crashed upon takeoff and burst into flames. Despite these compounded trauma, Hemingway survived. Though his injuries were severe, throughout his life, Hemingway also survived malaria, pneumonia, skin cancer, diabetes, and high blood pressure. He lived through car accidents, fishing boat disasters, and hunting mishaps. During World War II, he claimed to have hunted German U-boats in the Caribbean with hand grenades. Newspapers actually reported Hemingway's death prematurely, following the African plane crashes, allowing the author the rare opportunity to read his own obituaries. Certainly, it is the most startling experience a man can undergo, to open the paper and read an account of his own death, he wrote to his publisher. Ironically, after surviving so much, Hemingway took his own life in 1961 at age 61, suffering from severe depression and deteriorating physical health. His final act was the one thing his legendary luck couldn't overcome. But before that tragic end, Hemingway's repeated escapes from death's clutches made him not just one of literature's greatest figures, but also one of history's most resilient survivors. Number 2. Abraham Lincoln. The president death couldn't catch until it did. How many times can one man stare down the barrel of an assassin's gun before his luck runs out? What if America's most beloved president was also its most frequently targeted? Long before John Wilkes Booth's fatal shot at Ford's Theater, Abraham Lincoln had already established a puzzling pattern of narrowly escaping death. Throughout his life and presidency, Lincoln faced numerous close calls that could have dramatically altered American history had any one of them succeeded. Lincoln's first documented brush with death came during his youth on the frontier. At age 9, he was kicked in the head by a horse, an injury so severe he was initially thought dead. He remained unconscious through the night, with his family fearing the worst. Somehow, the boy recovered completely, though the incident was said to have left a permanent depression in his forehead. As a young man navigating the dangerous Mississippi River, Lincoln's flatboat once ran aground on a mill dam, nearly capsizing and drowning all aboard. Quick thinking saved Lincoln and his companion as they offloaded cargo to lighten the boat before it was swept over. Perhaps Lincoln's most famous pre-assassination brush with death occurred in 1864 during the height of the Civil War. While riding alone near Washington's Soldiers' Home, a sniper fired at the president, sending a bullet through his tall stovepipe hat. Lincoln's horse bolted, and when soldiers rushed to the scene, they found only the president's hat with a bullet hole through it. Lincoln downplayed the incident, requesting it be kept quiet to avoid alarming his wife. In another incident in August 1864, Lincoln was riding to the Soldiers' Home when a gunshot rang out, startling his horse. The president was thrown, but escaped serious injury. The would-be assassin fled into the darkness. Even before his presidency, Lincoln narrowly avoided a duel with political rival James Shields in 1842. After publishing anonymous letters mocking Shields, Lincoln was challenged to a duel with cavalry broadswords. At the last moment, friends intervened and prevented what could have been a fatal encounter for the future president. Most ominous was an incident in 1862 when Lincoln visited the captured Confederate city of Richmond. According to accounts, he walked the streets with minimal security despite being surrounded by hostile residents. Later, a captured Confederate soldier confessed there had been a clear opportunity to shoot Lincoln during this visit, but the would-be assassin lost his nerve at the crucial moment. Perhaps strangest of all, Lincoln's brushes with mortality involves a dream he reportedly had just days before his assassination. In this dream, Lincoln walked through the White House hearing sobs until he encountered a corpse on display surrounded by mourners. When he asked a soldier who had died, the response was chilling. The president. He was killed by an assassin. Lincoln's extraordinary run of luck finally ended on April 14, 1865, when John Wilkes Booth succeeded where others had failed. But Lincoln's multiple escapes from death's grasp before that fateful night at Ford's Theater suggest a man who for a time seemed almost supernaturally protected until he wasn't. Number 1, Violet Jessup, the unsinkable stewardess. What are the odds of surviving not 1, not 2, but 3 major maritime disasters? How many shipwrecks can one woman walk away from? Violet Jessup wasn't just a survivor, she was a maritime miracle. Over the course of her career as an ocean liner stewardess, Jessup experienced 3 of the most infamous shipwrecks of the early 20th century, and lived to tell all 3 tales, earning her the nickname Miss Unsink. Jessup's first encounter with maritime disaster came in September 1911 aboard the RMS Olympic, the sister ship of the Titanic. While departing Southampton, the Olympic collided with the British warship HMS Hawke. Though the damage was significant, the warship's bow nearly penetrated the Olympic's hull. The ship remained afloat, and all passengers and crew survived. This would prove to be merely a warm-up for Jessup's extraordinary saga of survival. Just 7 months later, in April 1912, Jessup was serving as a stewardess aboard the RMS Titanic on its maiden voyage. When the ship struck an iceberg and began to sink, Jessup helped non-English-speaking passengers navigate to the lifeboats, demonstrating remarkable calm amidst the chaos. Eventually, she was ordered into Lifeboat 16 to show women that the evacuation was safe. As she sat in the lifeboat watching the massive ship sink into the North Atlantic, Jessup could hardly have imagined that her relationship with maritime disasters was only beginning. The most astonishing chapter in Jessup's story came during World War I. In November 1916, she was serving as a nurse aboard the HMHS Britannic, which had been converted into a hospital ship. The Britannic, also a sister ship to the Titanic, struck a mine or was torpedoed in the Aegean Sea. As the ship began sinking much faster than the Titanic, Jessup again found herself evacuating a doomed vessel. This time, her escape was even more harrowing. As she jumped from a lifeboat to avoid being sucked into the Britannic's still spinning propellers, Jessup struck her head on the keel and later discovered she had suffered a skull fracture. Despite this serious injury, she survived yet again, later recalling, "I had leaped into the water, but thought I'd never rise to the surface again." Beyond these 3 famous incidents, Jessup's life contained other brushes with death. As a child, she contracted tuberculosis and was given just months to live, yet recovered completely. During the Britannic disaster, she also nearly drowned before being pulled from the water. After surviving ships of the same line sinking in peacetime and wartime, Jessup might have reasonably chosen a land-based career. Instead, she returned to working at sea for nearly 4 more decades, completing a 42-year career sailing the world's oceans. When asked about her extraordinary experiences, Jessup remained remarkably modest, once commenting, "I believe I am not at all remarkable. Just an ordinary young woman to whom extraordinary things have happened." She lived to the age of 83, passing away in 1971 of heart failure, on land peacefully in her sleep, having finally outlasted the sea's repeated attempts to claim her. What invisible forces protect some people through disasters that would kill others instantly? Or is it just blind, improbable luck that allows certain individuals to walk away from death time after time when others aren't so fortunate?